Hi Tigers, today I'm here joined with Reece Hamilton, who you may know as an NDB senior, but apart from her academic career, she's also been awarded as a national ice skater. Hello Reece.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining with me today on Tiger TV.
Yeah.
So I'd love to learn more about your history in ice skating and what, encouraged you and sparked interest.
Okay, yeah. So to start out, I started skating at a very, very young age of around 2. My mom was previously a figure skater, and so was some of also my aunt from my mom's side. And so she started me off really early, just to see if I liked it. I ended up really liking it. I remember going to the San Mateo rink right before it closed down and then reopened later. And I had these little brown skates that were my mom's, and I just she put them on me, and I just started wobbled around the ice, and I really loved it. Yeah.
And so growing up in your early career, what was it like first learning how to train?
Yeah, first learning how to train, especially when I was in elementary school, it was really different compared to what a lot of kids did for their regular sports, because I would have to wake up really early, not as early as I do now, but probably around 6:30ish, and I would get on the ice probably 7 and skate 7 to 8:30 or so, and I did that a lot in Redwood City growing up because that was the closest rink to us, and that's where my coach was located before the San Mateo rink opened up. And at the time I was doing mostly singles, which is just women's singles, where you jump, spin, do all that. And yeah, and then I would go to school right after that. So yeah.
Can you walk me through some of the different levels and types of ice skating?
Yeah. So in ice skating, there are 4 types of disciplines. We have women's singles, we have men's singles, and then we have pairs where you see all the overhead lifts and they also do all the twists, and they also do synchronized jumps. And then we have ice dance, which I transferred to later. And that's also partnered, and it's more you have a pattern kind of dance, which is kind of like a ballroom dance, and then you have a free dance where you do a lot of edge work, spins, and some lifts, but more like lower lifts. Mm-hmm. And then with leveling, you kind of rise. There's kind of different ranks, I guess, and it's especially nationally, you go juvenile, intermediate, novice, junior, senior. And internationally, there can be times when there's novice, but it tends to start at junior and senior levels.
And what's been your favorite level to compete in so far?
Favorite level, I would say a good level is probably, I would say, intermediate and novice. I'm now more in the junior, almost senior kind of ranks. It gets harder. I feel like intermediate and novice is kind of where I learned the most about myself as a skater. Juvenile, I was definitely younger, so it was just kind of competition after competition, disappointment. I feel like I learned to grow, and there was always setbacks, but then I could rise from there a lot in the intermediate and kind of novice level, kind of the mid levels. So okay. Yeah.
And what's been your favorite type of skating?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've always loved doing singles. It's just always, it never really, I had some natural ability in how high I jumped, and I'm a good spinner, but I always had a really hard time rotating. I would have a lot of bad falls, and I didn't really like falling a lot. And you have to have a little bit, I'm not as, especially I'm going to compare myself to my younger sister who is in women's singles and is doing very well in it. I wasn't as kind of daredevilish as she is. She's also a gymnast, so she does another daredevil kind of sport. And I never really had that in me. I didn't really like that. And I'm also a dancer. And so I decided to transfer into dance, and and I've really loved it. It's more, I mean, I would say it's more graceful, more artistry, and I've always been kind of like that. And I'm also quite small, so partnering has always kind of came easy to me, and getting lifted, like I'm okay with that. Yeah.
And when you face setbacks, how do you handle those mistakes, whether it's injuries or balance issues? How do you get back up from a fall?
Yeah, with setbacks, I think I always have to not get so like wound up in my mind. I feel like kind of like gymnastics and also some dance, as like elite of a sport skating is, there's a lot of, it's a lot of big things are mind, like your mind is like always in the way. And I don't think that gets recognized a lot. It seems very physical, which it, don't get me wrong, it really is. But the big thing is why people don't commit to jumps and like get injured bad is because of your mind. And I think for me, instead of like if I fell or if I popped, which popping is kind of like not fully rotating into a jump, I would need to calm myself down first and then go, rather than start circling and like being like, why can't I do this? You know, because there's always those moments. But yeah, and then with injuries, I haven't had so many injuries in skating. Most of them actually came more from dance, especially with point, with all the pressure that goes into my toes. So I've had a lot of like foot injuries. However, you know, I've had pretty bad like falls in skating where I've gotten kind of bad bruising, or my legs have swollen. And I would say with that, I tend to, especially when I get off the ice, I would like strengthen those areas, because it shows, like especially if I get injured there, it shows that like there's kind of a weakening there. So I would like do some like physical therapy exercises, like with TheraBands, you know, like when you like pull back, and especially for dance, like I would have to strengthen my toes. And it also affects me with skating when I have injuries like that from dance, because like in jumps you have to like roll up off your toes, and if I have like my toes are damaged, it's kind of hard. So yeah, just like setting like, and also it's just setting small goals so that I can like fully recover and become my best self.
Right.
So yeah.
And can you walk me through what a typical outfit, how do you stay warm on the ice, if there's outerwear, innerwear?
Yeah. Weirdly, I've noticed a lot of times, because we're from California and we don't have much snow, I feel like a lot of our rinks are actually a lot colder than states that have cold rinks, because they have to, like, they heat them up, so because the outside temperature.
Right.
So in the morning especially, I'm just like freezing. And so normally, I mean, everybody kind of is different on what they wear and like how cold they get. I get pretty cold, but then after a while, like once I start warming up, I then like take layers off. But I tend to wear either like tights, which are like kind of the competitive tights that are kind of like this tannish color, or I wear like kind of like a sock version of that. And then for pants, I wear like Lululemon pants, like just like the regular leggings. And for a shirt, I kind of wear this shirt, which I'm wearing from Lulu, or from, I also sometimes wear Viva, which is like the the younger. But and then I wear, for a jacket, I tend to wear either one of like my national jackets, or just like a fleece or something that just keeps me warm. And sometimes if I'm like really cold, I I have these bigger like jackets from like North Face that I wear. And then also sometimes, depending on the rink, there's some really cold rinks. I sometimes bring hand warmers, just because, especially if I don't do any partnering things, because it just keeps my hands warm. Especially, yeah, especially in like, there's some rinks that are just really cold. Yeah, and also I wear gloves. I've worn the North Face gloves that are kind of like more like fit to your hand, and then I've worn just like the little fleece ones that are like, yeah.
It varies, right?
It just varies, yeah, and kind of depending on like what I find in my bag.
And so you're 17 or 18 years old now?
I'm 17. Yeah, I don't turn 18 till July.
So you're 17 years old,
Yeah.
you're going to school, but you're
Yeah.
also balancing, you know, national ice skating
Yes.
awards, competitions.
Yeah.
So how do you balance the school life with the sport life?
Yeah, I would say school life versus sport life. I've always had to be more organized about like my schedule, especially with like being off away for a competition or an event. And so a lot of like times I have to coordinate with my teachers, especially when I'm gone. I like send an email and then I get the work before and I try to turn it in through email like on time. I like talk to them about like rescheduling like a test, say. I also have gone, I have a study hall first block, so I have more time to skate. And then my fifth block, I have an online class, so I just do that like on the weekends. And yeah, and then I've tried to make as much time as I can whenever I have time just to be with like hang out with my friends. And I always hang out with them here, and I try to, with homework, I try to do it like during school times, like during lunch or something. Like I'll be like on my computer working, or I do it in the car if it's like reading or something that it's like on paper. And then at home, sometimes I just finish at home and then try to get to bed as fast as I can.
What are you ranked in our national, either if it's national, state?
Yeah. Nationally, it's kind of weird because it depends on the event you're in. I know that nationally for solo dance that I did last year, I was ranked top like 10. I remember for pattern dances I was third in the Pacific Coast. That's like, it's kind of hard because there's also so many people within the ranks, and then it depends on your region. We have 3 regions. We have Pacific Coast, we have the kind of Midwest, which is also kind of like also Texas and the Rockies, which is kind of weird. And then we also have the East Coast, which also includes like Florida and stuff. It's kind of like this part,
Like
this part, this part. Yeah, so we also have like Hawaii in our code.
And who do you think your biggest role model has been?
I think my biggest role model, I would say that I have 2, and they're also kind of my biggest supporters, is my mom. She was kind of the one who brought me into skating. Without her, I wouldn't. It's such a complicated sport to navigate, and for her to be an ice skater and like also put me into skating has like, I mean, that's like that's what I do. Right. So it's like, I thank her a lot for that, and she also has helped me like organize all my schedules, all my events. She's like always been the one to like, she's just always been my biggest supporter and has helped me like navigate skating and like moving disciplines and, you know, all that stuff. And then also I would say my younger sister, which is kind of unusual as a role model, but she really is. I mean, she's constantly there supporting me, and the way she trains is just amazing. She's very dedicated to skating, and it just inspires me every day to continue, especially as I get older, and yeah.
Yeah. And what are your plans for the future when it comes to college?
Yeah.
Possibly more competitions?
Yes.
The Olympics? Could we, maybe, is that a dream?
It's a dream. It's long reach, but I would say my dreams right now at this moment, I really hope to get into a college that has a good skating program, especially good skating club. It's not, there's only one school that has like a varsity team or like a D1 team, I think, for like synchro, which I don't do. But I would like to go to a school that has a good club and compete in collegiate skating, hopefully in ice dance. And then I also would like to be in an area where I can continue to train, hopefully in partner dance, and see what happens there, hopefully compete nationally, maybe internationally, and then, yeah, long shot, Olympics and Worlds.
Well, we'll see.
We'll
see you there.
Yeah.
Right? Never doubt it until...
Yep.
Well, thank you so much, Reece, for joining with me today. If you visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/TigerTV. And that's all I have for today. So thank you so much, Reece.
Thank you.